Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more R.I.P continuing Kureha's route, and God, we're having wonderful, lovey moments with him, and it makes my heart hurt because I'm so scared of what this game is going to do to me. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm terrified, but anyway. I cracked open the door of the nurse's office and took a cautious look outside. She's not here. We talked together for some time before Kureha went out again.
If I'm not back in about 10 minutes, consider my distraction successful. You go talk to Hibiki in the meantime.
Ever since I arrived in this world, time seemed frozen. Every clock was still. My smartphone battery had long since died. All I could do was guess, but after what I thought was 10 minutes passed, I left. I also left a note for Yui, telling her I went out looking for Hibiki. I gently closed the door behind me and headed to the central stairway, doing my best to stay silent. As I walked, my mind drifted to feelings for Kureha. He seemed to share my feelings, yet he didn't say so outright, likely because there was no way for us to be together in the future. I really hope that's not true. In that case, it's probably better to leave these feelings unsaid. No, don't. Saying them out loud would only make things more painful later on down the line. No, but you know what? It'll be more painful when you realize that you didn't tell him you loved him before you leave. I swear to God we need to be together with this man if this game is Trauma Train 2.0. I don't know if I can handle it.
She seemed to be following me. The Wraith doesn't seem to be very good at following me discreetly. A simple glance was all it took to spot her. Yet she maintained a significant distance, continuously observing my every move. I hope Spacey managed to meet up with Hibiki. I hope the two of them were able to talk. It was tough to know. It was tough knowing how helpless I was. All I did was distract the Wraith.
Hey, look, it's the time traveler!
I turned to see the girl, the seventh of the school's wonders.
Time traveler. See, I said time travel wasn't far-fetched. And also, because he looks like he came from a different time period.
I'm not sure I like that nickname.
Can you blame me? You hardly ever see ghosts walking around in kimonos these days.
Indeed, she had a point. Among ghosts here, there were only a few who did.
This world is still weird, huh? How the heck am I supposed to find him with the world like this?
Speaking of which, you're looking for your love, right?
Yeah, but I think he's already crossed over. I've been waiting for him for years, but there's still no sign of him. How cruel of him to leave me here after he asked me out.
Perhaps he's waiting for you on the other side.
Maybe he didn't know you died. Even so, I can't go just yet. At least not until that terrible rumor about me goes away. How can I cross over when people think I killed him?
She didn't actually kill him. Could it be she killed herself because of the false rumors the students spread about her?
Wasn't he here when we had that conversation with her? I'm going to assume that depending on whose route you go down, that this is why it seems weird, because depending on whose ever route you're headed toward, then maybe you end up having this conversation with her with Hibiki if you're in Hibiki's route. So, but then they shouldn't assume that, you know what I mean? Like, if that's the case, then it would be like, oh, you had the highest affection with Hibiki, he went with you, but then you would have ended up in his route, not Kureha's route. So, unless there was like, oh, well, there's a way that you could have had that scene with the girl with Hibiki, and then this is now when you're in Kureha's route and he's talking, because it's like he doesn't know, but it's like, you were there when we were talking to her, and she said, I gave him the lunchbox and he ate it so fast, and then, well, in our head we went, he choked. She's like, and they all started saying I poisoned him, but that's not the case, so I ran up to the roof and then I jumped because they chased me. You know what I mean? And like, but then Kureha's here, like, he doesn't comprehend, like, he's confused about what happened. Like, oh, she didn't kill him? And it's like, she said she didn't, and you know what I mean? So, like, it's a little odd, unless that scene also you could have with Hibiki, so they left it kind of like, where it doesn't quite line up if you go and you see both of these scenes with Kureha, because then it doesn't match up perfectly. But if you went and met her the first time with Hibiki, then yes, it would make sense that Kureha wouldn't fully understand the story. So it's the only thing I could think, because otherwise it's a little odd. But
I wanted to console her, but I couldn't find the right words to say to her.
listen, you don't want to have any regrets, okay? If you've got feelings for somebody, tell them. Otherwise, you'll end up like me.
Well, she's saying this because she knows I have feelings for Spacey. Is it really that obvious?
The only happiness I felt was when he ate the lunch I made for him.
Her faint smile made me stop and think. Tell her my feelings. I told her many times I was attracted to her, but I never explicitly stated my feelings for her. After all, if we were destined to part, wouldn't it be better to leave such things unsaid?
We're both thinking the same thing and we're both totally fucking wrong.
Or...
Oh, but I love how we're both having these thoughts. It's so adorable. I reached the staircase and found Hibiki waiting for me in the mirror. When I mentioned I needed to talk to him, he quickly stepped out of the mirror. He then gazed at me, a pained look on his face. You can see he's got the same bruise around his neck.
So that mark still hasn't gone away, huh?
If the Wraith is the ghost of the Forbidden Room, I think it might disappear when we find out her name. How does he know about the mark? He wasn't there when we had it and we didn't see him afterward. Right? I mean, well, it doesn't matter. Hibiki stared at the ground, silent for a moment.
If all the victims of the Divine Invocation incident have gathered here just as you suspect.
He turned to the mirror and placed his hand over it. Hibiki, what are you doing?
I'm giving permission to enter.
Huh? Permission? You mean I can enter the mirror? Hibiki nodded in response. Previously, he mentioned me needing permission to go inside the mirror. From deep within the mirror, I saw creepy, dull blue light glinting at irregular intervals. I then felt a lukewarm wind pass through me, causing the hair on my arms to stand up. I'd seen and experienced many mysterious things ever since entering this world, and yet, this is amazing! What is this?
And that's it. Come, let's go.
Wait, what's the point of me going inside the mirror?
So I can trap you and keep you...
no, I'm just kidding.
To look for victims of the Divine Invocation incident inside the mirror. I can tell from their voices.
Just from their voices? Seems rather odd. A lot of things he says are odd. So don't you already know who the other victims are?
I told you before, I don't make contact with the other ghosts. I don't interact with them. I've never even seen most of them.
That's right, he did say that before. I mean, it makes sense that, like, if he's hiding constantly, he hears voices, he hears people talking, he knows, he's like, I recognize that voice, but I've never seen the ghost, but I've heard them talking about the incident. You know what I mean? Like, I could believe. But it is that everything he says is odd. She keeps like, he's very odd.
When I was imprisoned in the Sukagami estate, I constantly heard their cries and screams. I still remember each one of their voices.
Also that, sure, makes sense.
At the time I was imprisoned in a tiny room. I could only gain information from sound, which is why I paid close attention to everything.
His explanation was short, but I understood. It must have been a truly horrible situation. Even thinking back on that time must be so painful for him. I began to worry about how much trauma I was causing him by merely asking him about these things. I might be too late in saying this, but I'm sorry, Hibiki, for making you relive such painful memories.
It's fine. I think about them every day, so my hatred doesn't fade.
Speaking with a smile, I saw a darkness in him I'd never seen before.
Oh, right. I'll make it so that Kureha can also enter here, too.
Thank you. In that case, I'll leave a memo at the nurse's office and let him know. Went into the mirror, hanging out with Hibiki. I quickly left Hibiki's mirror and ran back to the nurse's office. Actually, given the situation, it might be safer in the mirror world. Because no one could enter without Hibiki's permission. That means I wouldn't have to worry about the Wraith. I was a bit anxious at first, but then I allowed myself to enter Hibiki's world. Ooh. Inside the mirror, a blue realm unfolded where everything appeared oddly inverted. Well, yeah, because it's the reverse. It's the mirror world. I do like that they do that, though. They like flip all the CGs. From inside the mirror, Hibiki and I surveyed the outside world through the school's mirrors, searching for the remaining victims. Wanting to hear the various ghosts speak was tedious. Oh, waiting. Waiting to hear the various ghosts speak was tedious, but thanks to Hibiki, we were able to navigate the way safely. If there's something that's still bothering me, it's about the victims. What about them? Until you mentioned it, I always thought the Divine Invocation incident only had 5 victims. Oh, that's right. Hibiki said he went somewhere else after he died. He said that was why he wasn't aware that wasn't aware. Well, he said that's why he wasn't that aware of all that happened. He didn't even know the Divine Invocation name. Hibiki was one of the victims, but he was locked up in a room of the estate. It was no wonder he didn't know the number of victims. At the time, apart from Isao Tsukigami, I only heard 4 distinct voices, and no more than that. But you only heard them, right? I don't mean to brag, but I'm fairly sure I'm correct. I was able to recognize the voice of Drawing Boy, too. Oh, I was right. At the time, Hibiki said that this boy must have been kidnapped by Isao Tsukigami and held captive in the mansion. So now, interesting, though, because also we said there were 7, but only 6 were found. Well, okay, 7 people went missing in 1949. 6 of those people's bodies were found in the manor. One of them not being, but Isao Tsukigami would have been the 7th person, but not the 7th person that went missing. So this is where it gets like confusing. 7 people went missing in 1949. That's this whole rumor thing. Okay. So 7 people. Isao Tsukigami is a random extra, not included in the 7 who went missing. But the 7th person who went missing could have been Yui, to be fair. And I think that's probably what they are trying to get out. And I don't know why my brain just pieced that together now or forgot and then pieced it back together if we knew that earlier. Because only 6 bodies were found on the Tsukigami estate. 7 people went missing that year, but she spirited herself away, so that counts as her going missing. And then her father killed 6 people trying to get her back. Right? So it would be 7 people that went missing. You know? But it's also weird, though, that 7 people went missing, but their bodies, even though Kureha knew about the bodies that were found and knew about the invocation incident, that's not in the news, and Sayaka doesn't, none of us know about it. Now, it's been 70 years, but it's still one of those, like, you would know if there were, like, you know what I mean? Like, either you had no idea that 6 people were murdered in your town 70 years before, or, you know, you wouldn't know, like Sayaka knowing, oh my god, 7 people went missing all in the same year, and then that was it. Then if you know that much, you would know, you know what I mean? So there's this weird disconnect on that. But 7 people, the 7th is probably Yui. So 6 people's bodies were found in Isao Tsukigami's mansion, him being the 7th. Right? But then Hibiki's saying only 5 people were kidnapped. So is that 6th one? Who is that 6th person? You know what I mean? Do we trust Hibiki? Like that maybe there was an actual 6th person that he didn't know about? But if he's telling us that, I feel like this is key information. But Kureha said there were 6 bodies. But, like, why would Kureha lie to us? But then again, he also doesn't remember who he is or anything like that. So how do you know that wasn't your body? How does he know? And is that 6th person, could that have been Isao Tsukigami? Because it sounded like when Kureha was explaining it was 6 people and then also Isao Tsukigami. You know, like, again, he's a special case. He's there, and whether there's 5 other victims or 6 victims, That's the question mark. So who's this sixth body that's there? You know what I mean? And I mean, Kureha's a whole big fucking mystery, so that's kind of interesting. And if there is only 5 people, we already knew it was the girl who turned into a wraith. We know it was the drawing boy. We know it was Hanako in the toilet. And we know it was Hibiki. So there's only one person we're missing versus 2 people. Anyway. I thought he deduced it from talking to the boy, but he actually figured it out from the boy's voice alone. It seemed he had both a keen ear and a good memory. I don't know the last victim. They could have been killed before I was abducted. Either that or they were abducted after I died. You're right. That's entirely possible, too. That's true, because maybe he needed 5 victims to sacrifice, but then Hibiki killed himself. So then he's like, fuck, I only have 4, so he brings somebody else and kills them, and then Hibiki never... So then technically 6 victims, Hibiki never knows that other person. You know what I mean? Only Asao Sukigami would know the full timeline of the murders. That said, I don't think we need to focus on the timeline just yet. So it's possible. But it's interesting that we're bringing it up, so there's something going on with that. And there's also, like, where did you... Like, he's like, I died and I went somewhere else, and then I came back here, so... And... he's in a mirror that's kind of like got a spell on it. So what's the deal with that? We went to various places, examining each classroom one by one.
There you are. I've been looking for you.
Kureha! It felt strange to be able to talk to him without whispering.
I managed to get away from the Wraith. You don't have to worry, since I don't think she knows I'm inside the mirror.
Oh, thank you for that. Hibiki's currently helping me look for clues, too. I forgot we were in the mirror for a hot second, and when Kureha just popped up like, sup? And it's like, wait, oh, yeah, never mind, we're in the mirror. I knew he could get into the mirror, but I was like, what about the Wraith? And then I was like, there was like a little split second I was like, concerned, and then I was like, all right, we're in the mirror.
Huh, well, I'm glad to see you're so motivated. It must have been tough just waiting powerlessly in the nurse's office.
Yeah, that might have been the safest place, but I still wanted to help out. I'm just happy I can talk to you like this, Kureha.
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, I'm happy talking to you like this, too.
Great minds think alike, and great minds are also in love with each other and want to tell the other that they're in love with each other and whatever. And then Hibiki's over there like, I'm right fucking here. Despite how happy I was feeling, Kureha's expression suddenly shifted.
Hibiki, why are you looking at me like that?
Huh? I turned to face Hibiki, only to see him glaring at Kureha. Yeah, he's like, you fell in love with her. Because the way you two were interacting, it's different from before. Yeah, because Hibiki's like, I wanted her to myself. You took her. Or now we're getting jealous? This is cute. My heart jumped. Could it be that Kureha and I were being too open with our feelings? That's because I racked my brain for an excuse.
Well, that's because I'm starting to see her as a woman.
Kureha! Huh? 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 No way. When did that happen?
Hibiki, love comes when we least expect it. You do well to remember that.
This man has no chill and I love it. He's like, because I see her as a woman, I'm in love with her. You just said the word love. God damn, I love you. Why is he talking down to him? I see. That's very good to know. He's just taking it. Perhaps it wasn't just Kureha that was acting strange, but Hibiki as well. Well, I guess there's no point in dwelling on it. Anyway, let's continue. These two seemed jolted back to reality after I said that. I explained what Hibiki and I were working on so Kureha could help us as well. I love this conversation. I like that the conversation is like, anyway, and we just keep going. We resumed our search and soon entered a classroom we hadn't visited before. With reverence to our teachers, we learn... I could hear someone humming a song I knew very well. The voice was faint, so faint I could barely hear it, despite being in the same room.
This voice.
Hibiki ran up to the mirror hung on the back of the classroom. Kureha and I quickly followed after him. Many years in the class we yearned. Hibiki, do you recognize that voice?
Yes, there's no mistake. It's the same singing I heard in the estate. Which means the source of this voice is another victim of the divine invocation incident.
However, even through the mirror, I was unable to see who was on the other side. The person should be in the classroom. Maybe they're in a location the mirror can't see. Still, Hibiki told me that those outside the mirror could hear us. Can we try calling out to them? Hopefully that won't scare them.
We could try going out of the mirror to enter the classroom, but the Wraith could find us.
In that case, let's try talking to them from here. I took a deep breath and began speaking through the mirror. You have a very nice singing voice. The singing immediately stopped. After a short pause, I heard footsteps approach and a boy appeared in the mirror. Whoa, what a surprise! Are you some kind of spirit that lives inside the mirror? Oh, I don't want the Wraith listening in. Maybe it's best to just leave it at that? That's correct, young man. I'm something very much like a spirit. I sound like the Red Book. Hibiki snickered to himself, and Kureha just smiled. This is kind of embarrassing. Oh, a spirit, huh? But you're wearing the school's uniform. That's pretty weird. Oh, that's right, he can see me from the other side, too. I do my best to imitate humans so I don't frighten them with my true form. But that's beside the point. There's something I want to ask you. You're a victim of the Divine Invocation incident, yes? Were you imprisoned at the Tsukigami estate? Yeah, I was. What do you want to know about it? Oh, he seems pretty cooperative. Maybe I shouldn't ask directly about who the last victim was. What can you tell us about the victims of the Divine Invocation incident? Not much. I don't know them and don't really care to know them either. My life was nothing but sadness, so it didn't bother me much, even when I was imprisoned and killed. This poor tragic ghost! Are there really kids who think like this? Then why didn't you cross over? I regret I never went to school. That's why I like this place. I can sit on all the classes here, even though I get annoyed by the fact I can't graduate like the others. I see. So he found joy in learning and is annoyed that his future was taken away from him. Looking at him, I was filled with mixed emotions. I think I've forgotten what it's like to feel those pure emotions.
Hey, mirror spirit, are you alright?
Wait, is he talking to me? Hibiki's shoulders were twitching as he tried to hold back laughter. I never imagined the guy I liked would call me a mirror spirit. You just admitted you liked him out in your head. Well, anyway, mirror spirit, is that all you wanted to ask me? Oh, what should I do now? Ask him if he knows how many victims.
I think you should ask him about where the victims were murdered. We might be able to get more information that way.
The location where they were murdered. At first, I couldn't understand. Oh, that's right. The victims are here because of the regrets they had in life and the grudges they kept toward Asao Tsukigami. The location of where they were murdered could potentially yield some new clues. I realize this might be painful to remember, but it pained me to ask, but I knew it was far worse for him. Do you remember where you were murdered? The boy looked up in the air and then spoke with a pained expression. I was imprisoned in a tiny room until I was murdered. Then I was blindfolded and told it was for a ceremony. When I took off the blindfold, it was a room with what looked like an altar. The room itself was damp and had no windows. I went down multiple flights of stairs, so I assumed it was some kind of basement or something. A basement? Sounded like a fitting place for something called the Forbidden Room. It also hurt. It hurt so much that I wanted it to end as fast as possible. This guy was talking about the gods or whatnot. I was told to wear this strange kimono so the gods would take a liking to me. He was insane. Completely crazy. The boy spat out the final words with disdain, then followed up with a sigh. Kureha's also wearing a kimono. But I'm sorry for making you remember. Then as I was speaking, I heard a sound from outside the door. No! Go away! What's going on? I peeked through the mirror to see why and noticed the face of the Wraith. The location of my mark started to sting.
Curse to death. Curse, 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 curse. That man.
Oh, we saw an office.
I'm no different from that man. Yet I can't stop killing.
Before I knew it, Kureha was holding my head in his hands.
Hibiki, smash the mirror!
I heard the sound of a mirror being shattered just as Kureha ordered. Even with the splitting headache and fear gone, I couldn't stop shaking. My ears continued to ring. Oh, he's trying to talk to us, but we can't hear him. They both are. I heard Kureha and Hibiki's voices as they tried to help me up. It's all right. I'm still alive. That was the Wraith's voice, but she was saying something different this time. That was all I remembered. Huh? Where am I? Mirror nurse's office. I slowly opened my eyes and saw the usual familiar ceiling. Wow.
Are you awake? Do you still hurt anywhere?
I turned to see Kureha by my side. I'm fine. That's right. The mark on my face started to hurt and I ended up passing out. I'm sorry for collapsing like that. Thanks for helping me then. I struggled to prop myself up and Kureha helped me up.
You can lay down if you need to. There's no need for you to push yourself.
I'm fine, really. I don't feel bad at all right now. I felt a little dizzy as I tried to get out of bed, but that was all. What happened to the boy? He was attacked because of me.
Hibiki went out to help him. Don't worry.
Hibiki was always doing so much to help me. Thank you, Hibiki. I'm sorry for all the trouble I've caused. Right now, all I could do was pray for both him and the other boy to be safe.
There's something I wanted to ask you. When the mark on your face hurt, did you see the wraith in the mirror?
Yes, I did. The moment I saw her eye, I felt pain shoot through me.
The curse may have something to do with sight, then.
I wonder...
You've been attacked twice thus far, and both times was when the wraith was nearby.
Yeah, you're right.
Still only a guess, but I believe the wraith's eye may be what's activating the curse.
Maybe. I looked over at Kureha, who was deep in thought and wore a grimace on his face. No doubt he's thinking about how to help me face down this curse. Overwhelmed with gratitude, I found myself on the brink of tears. I managed to hold back and talk with Kureha about the details of what I'd just seen. The moment I felt the pain, the wraith came and tried to talk to me again. But this time she said something different. It felt like she was talking directly to me. Like she wasn't talking directly to me. What she was saying, I think it has something to do with her regrets.
Regrets? Can you tell me what you heard? You don't have to force yourself if it's painful to remember, though.
I shook my head and talked about the words she said to me and the things I saw.
It looked like something resembling a study. You think it could be the Sukigami estate?
She also said this, I'm no different from that man, yet I can't stop killing.
That man?
I believe she was referring to Isao Sukigami. I can't think of anyone else. Isao Sukigami murdered many people, and I think she's comparing him to herself. Kureha looked down at the sword he carried on his side. Unless she's literally comparing herself to Kureha, because if he is from, like, ye olde times, where, like, you know, whatever, like, samurai days and stuff like that, people were murdering people, like, whatever, like, we played plenty of these historical games, right? Hey, that's just the way it was. I'm no different from him, except for I can't stop killing people. He didn't want to continue killing people. And he ended up dead. Got stabbed, clearly. You know what I mean? And, like, he's definitely in ye olde time clothes. It doesn't seem very 1949-ish. But again, I don't know anything about 1949 in Japan. Like, maybe this was still, like, trendy. Saying, like, The scowl on his face deepened, revealing the true depth of his emotions. What are you thinking about? But the study didn't seem like, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
My memory's somehow related to that wraith. And perhaps that man is me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Without thinking, I stretched my hand out toward his. He was trembling. I couldn't help but gently touch Kureha on the cheek. Then in that next moment...
What is this sword? Why is there blood on it? Did I die? What am I doing here? I don't know why I have this sword. Perhaps something happened before I died. Perhaps I was the one that killed her.
No. I wanted to deny it, but the images I saw combined with his words caused me to panic. No, Kureha isn't a murderer. But I mean, again, depending on the time period he lived in, you know, you could also say that anybody who fought in a war is a murderer. But like, war is an extenuating circumstance where you'd be like, you're at war. Not saying that it's right, but it's different than being like, I just go feel like, oh, I like just going out and stabbing people on the weekends. That's different. War is like you're defending your country, even if you're bullshit wrong and whatever, or whatever, like, you know? Like, you think your great grandpas, or if you're old, your grandpas, like, who fought in World War II are murderers just because they might have been involved in things that killed other people? Like, yes, but also no. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference. Doesn't make war right. I mean, war's just fucking bullshit and wrong regardless. But you know what I'm saying? Like, different times, different, like, are so you don't really know that he was like, yeah, I just like stabbing bitches, or why, if he did kill someone, why he did. You know what I mean? The time period he came from, like, whatever, you don't know. So, I mean, and his dress kind of belays a different time period, you know. He can't be. What I saw earlier was, I felt bad saying this about Hibiki, but when I touched his hand, I felt the darkness. I had a terrible headache. But when I saw Kureha's images earlier, they didn't affect me at all. Kureha didn't have that darkness in him. I can't believe you murdered anyone, Kureha. Even when we're touching right now, I don't sense any darkness in you. But also, Hibiki is also remembers what happened to him and is angry and pissed off. That's why you see the darkness. Kureha has no fucking memory, so who knows? Kureha slowly pulled his hand away from me.
I'm sorry. I think I showed you something you didn't need to see.
It's okay, really. Even when I see your past, it doesn't affect me at all. There's no pain or headaches. I promise.
Well, that makes me feel a little better. Thank you.
Kureha's feeling as uneasy as me. No, maybe even more than me. From what I saw earlier, I could see the sadness and confusion that Kureha carried. It was the first time I'd seen his regrets. Kureha was always so calm, so composed. I had no idea he was carrying such fears. Besides, it's my fault that Kureha started to think this way about himself. I'm sorry. Seems like my own theories are making you worried about your past. This is all my fault for suggesting that there could be a connection with that wraith in your memories, Kureha.
That's not your fault. Letting my fears get the better of me is my own problem.
But
I have nothing to worry about. So please, don't look at me like that.
Kureha sighed deeply and returned to his usual demeanor.
Now that you're awake, I'm thinking it best to head back to the outside world. I'm a little concerned about Hibiki. Also, Yui may have attained some new information for us, too.
Please, let me go with you. I'm worried about Hibiki, too.
No, you stay here. I'll be safe as long as what happened earlier doesn't happen again.
Oh, it'll be safe, sorry. I understood why Kureha was worried, but I don't want to be alone. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. I really am grateful, but please let me stay with you. I'm responsible for dragging everyone into this mess. I was unsettled by the fact that people like that boy were being attacked because of me. Besides, I realized something else in the mirror. I wasn't safe anywhere. Not as long as I had this mark, this curse on my face. I dropped to my knees in front of Kureha and bowed down to him.
What are you doing?
I can't keep hiding forever. Please, Kureha, let me go with you. I'm weak, and I know I've caused everyone to worry about me, but I promise to protect my mind from now on, no matter what. It's really all I can promise, that I'll try to protect my own mind. In the previous fight, he promised to protect me, and now I wanted to offer a promise of my own. This is something only I can do, something I must do. It's my life, after all.
Spacey.
Kureha gently nudged my head upwards and helped me to my feet.
Thank you for your promise. I trust your words.
Thank you.
Then allow me to make another promise. I swear on my soul to protect you.
Something about him saying that he swore on his soul left me worried, but I made up my mind to protect him too, and so I said, please don't swear on your soul, I'll protect you too. I feel like I'll protect you too, but also, please don't swear on your soul! Please don't swear on your soul! It's like, don't swear on your soul, like, it feels like a rejection more than I'll protect you too. Is like, yeah, I'll protect you too. Is more romantic, but I don't want him to swear on a soul. But him swearing on a soul and like the fear and everything is like, okay, I feel like bad end could come out of that. No, it's please don't swear on your soul. Cool, okay. Please don't swear on your soul. If you were gone, I'd feel so sad I'd completely fall apart. Alright, okay. Kureha didn't respond, but I feel like I have to say it.
I yield. When you put it like that, I guess I can't be reckless anymore.
Thank goodness. Before, all I could do was hide behind him in fear, but not anymore. I would stand next to him and stand up to my fears moving forward.
You were worried about me, right? Thank you, Spacey.
Hearing him say my name again made my heart flutter. I feel so happy whenever Kureha says Spacey. It makes me feel warm. I know, right?
Let's hurry and find Hibiki. I'm worried he's still not back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm worried about him too. At the base of the stairs, we noticed that Hibiki was in front of the mirror. The boy from before was with him too. Thank goodness they're safe. Look at that, Hibiki just letting everybody into his little world. Hibiki! When he saw us, he rushed down the steps to where we were. He then pulled us toward the side of the hallway.
We can't go out right now. The wraith you mentioned previously is probably waiting to ambush us in front of the mirror.
I couldn't tell through the mirror, but you're one of the living? Actually, that mark on your face. Oh, that wraith placed a curse on me.
I see. So it was you.
Huh?
Nothing. I was just wondering why that wraith has been so active recently. It seemed odd to me.
Yeah, I think I might be the cause of that. The boy glanced at Kureha, but quickly looked away. For now, I'm just glad you're safe. Sorry for dragging you into this.
Don't blame her. Ever since the school was sent into the strange dimension, she's been trying to return to the mortal realm.
The boy gasped and looked up, his expression revealing a sudden idea.
Ever since the world turned red, I haven't been able to go through walls, and I could touch things. I knew something was off.
He seemed to be talking to himself as he stared down at the floor.
You asked about the divine invocation incident earlier, didn't you? Do you think you'll return to the mortal realm if you solve it?
It isn't so much the incident, but if I do solve the rumor of the Forbidden Room, I think we can find out more about that wraith.
If there's anything I can do to help, I will. I'd hate it if I couldn't attend the classes anymore.
Really? I was overjoyed to have another person to join our team right now. Thank you very much. I'd be more than happy to get your help.
Allow me to thank you too. Ever since the school got sent to this space, so many things have changed. I might as well join in on it.
Join in?
Oh, excuse me. I suppose it's more appropriate to say cooperate. Well, let's get started then. That wraith is a victim of the divine invocation incident. You can tell from the kimono she wears.
Huh? then she actually has no association with Kureha whatsoever. Considering how nervous Kureha was earlier, perhaps this was for the best. I glanced at Kureha, and he seemed deep in thought, staring at a single point on the ground. If that wraith is a victim of the Divine Invocation incidents, then we know 6 victims. Do you know anything about the Forbidden Room?
I've only heard the name, but none of the details. Actually, a girl had asked me about that just the other day.
Oh, maybe it was Yui.
Is she one of you?
Yeah, she is. From the looks of it, it seemed as though Yui didn't mention anything about herself to him. I'll be like, did she have, like, long dark hair and was wearing a little black, like, not overall dress, but you know what I mean. Little jumper dress. But given Yui's plan, she was bound to meet him eventually. She's a very kind and considerate girl. If you run into her again later, I hope you talk with her. The boy nodded his head in agreement.
As for what we should do next, I'll try and distract the Wraith again. Let me help. I'll team up with you, Kureha. I'll help distract the Wraith.
Yeah, and so, like, Hibiki wouldn't be wearing, like, a strange kimono or whatever because he killed himself before he got sacrificed. But the thing is, like, we can see the child in front of us. We've seen that we can... Okay, we were not paying attention to the Wraith. But he's like, I know, because she's wearing a strange kimono, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but you'd think we'd be able to see what the kid is wearing and go, wait, Kureha's wearing the same thing, so yeah, you were a victim, or whatever. You know what I mean? But... And, like... Maybe Isao Sukagami was stabbing you and he grabbed the sword, and then, you know what, that's how you ended up with the sword. Maybe the sword's what's killed everybody. You know? Or maybe you stabbed yourself. That's why the sword was covered in blood. You know? We don't know. But you would think the kid would be like, yeah, she's wearing the kimono, just like this guy here. Like, someone would point it out if Kureha's outfit matched the other people. You know what I mean? So I'm just throwing that out there, but...
Yeah, I'll team up with Kureha to help distract the Wraith. I think I read that, but it's okay. Thank you. But before you do that, would you mind taking her back to the nurse's office? In that case, how about I act as a decoy and you take her back, Kureha? I think the Wraith is intent on following me, so please get her to safety before trying to help out, okay? I'm counting on you, Hibiki. Alright, I'll defend her with everything I got.
Kureha grinned and lightly patted Hibiki's head. Hibiki sure looks happy. Looking back, Hibiki was all alone in the mirror until he met us. He spent his time avoiding everyone from the outside, and now he's got friends. I couldn't know what caused him to be like that, but... You're not alone anymore, Hibiki. Hibiki smiled bashfully and said, I'm really happy with the way things are now. It's good to have friends. That's right. We are your friends, Hibiki. Kureha and I both. With that, Hibiki smiled. It was the kindest smile I'd ever seen him make.
I'll be going now. Stay safe, all of you.
With that, Kureha ran up to the central stairway and exited out of the mirror. Kureha, you stay safe too. I couldn't live if you died. Because I love you.
I left the mirror world, but was unable to find the Wraith. Yet I sensed something in the shadows. A dark presence not even trying to hide. I climbed down the first floor and noticed it move. I proceeded toward the stairs facing the main entrance and ascended to the 3rd floor. While jogging through the place, I recalled the promise we'd made to each other. If I vanished, she said she'd lose her mind. If anything, that told me how important I was to her. That said, I couldn't be happy about the situation. Her feelings toward me could act as shackles, preventing her from returning to the mortal realm. Even so, it was too late to simply push her away now. If only I was alive. Even if I was alive, our lives were separated by an ocean of time. No matter what, our lives were destined never to intertwine. I knew that was the case, but acknowledging it out loud still hurt.
Or, please don't have this be, like, Bad Apple Wars, right? Where it's like you cross over and you're playing with dead boys and you're like, I'm in love with everyone. But then you go back and then you meet their descendants or their reincarnations or something, and it's them, but it's not really them, and only, like, you know what I mean? Like, no, don't do that either, because that kills me. You're like, it's not the same! You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that was all the routes. I know that was one in particular that it was like that, and it was like, no, but it's not the same. Like, you're like, so like Kureha died like decades ago, but like we'll meet his great great grandson or something, and you're like, well, that's also not the same because like then you're implying the man I fell in love with was like has kids out there right now? Like, nah. I don't want some descent. You know what I mean? Or like, you meet his reincarnate. No, no. I mean, I guess I have to take it, but I don't like that either. You know what I mean? That's only acceptable as like a positive spin to a bad end, not the end-all be-all good end, you know? Anyway.
I knew that was the case, but acknowledging out loud still hurt.
I just don't like how they're setting me up to hurt. Like, I don't know if they're doing that. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I think this game's gonna hurt me, and I don't like it. As Kureha distracted the Wraith, Hibiki brought me back safely to the nurse's office. I thanked Hibiki, and he looked a bit sorry. I have something important to do, so I'll be gone for a while. And after saying that, he vanished. I wondered what that important thing could be and wanted to ask him where he was going, but I knew I had to focus on my own issues. As I said goodbye to him, he told me that I still had permission to use the mirror whenever I needed. The boy who said he would cooperate with us also entered the nurse's office with us.
Hey, nice to see you again, Yui Tsukigami.
Yui and I both looked at each other, surprised at the greeting. I don't think I ever told you my name.
Did you forget already? I guess you couldn't possibly remember every single servant of the household.
Yui's expression suddenly changed.
I was a servant of the Tsukigami estate and a victim of its master.
I'm so sorry. Not just for not remembering you, but for what my father did.
That's fine. I don't need any of that. I'm not holding any grudges against you, but I do hope you'll help me cross over.
I will. In fact, I'd be very grateful for the opportunity to do so. Yui held both the boys' hands tightly. It seemed there were ghosts who understood this wasn't Yui's fault. It's kind of sweet. Though clearly not all of them felt that way. They each seemed to have their own way of dealing with the issue. And with that, the three of us exchanged the information we'd found. As for Yui, she wasn't able to figure out the location of the room. But after hearing what we'd found out, a dejected look crossed her face. So that Wraith was a victim of the incident. Her anger at what my father did turned her into a Wraith. That makes two now, because there was the cafeteria girl, not Poison Girl, or not the non-poison lunchbox girl, but another girl, and now this one. Yui.
I doubt you'd be able to even talk to her, so what are the next steps? Go try and find the basement?
The boy clearly wasn't paying any attention to Yui and continued to speak matter-of-factly. Yeah, that might be the best course of action. All the rumors seem to point to the forbidden room being in the basement. And that Wraith is likely the spirit associated with the rumor. It was all still conjecture, but I felt that we were getting closer to the truth. If the forbidden room's in the basement of the estate, I know where that is, though I can't say for sure it exists anymore. Yui spoke with a gloomy expression, as though she was trying to forget it. It was likely that Yui witnessed her father's crimes there. I felt sorry for Yui, but I knew he had to investigate the basement. First, let's see if the room still exists. It seemed likely the forbidden room was in the basement of the estate, where one of the victims was heard crying. Would I be able to ask the Wraith for her name? I'm anxious, but I have no choice but to keep moving forward. I forced myself to stay motivated. Chapter 8. Okay. We continued talking under our breaths to try and remain quiet. Yui looked down at the floor in silence for some time after that. Considering the floor plan of the estate, the library is where the basement was. So it was the library, just like in the story exposing the rumor. I know where the stairs leading to the basement are. However, I don't know if the basement itself still exists. Yeah, if the world weren't strange like now, we could just pass through the ground. But we can't do that right now. Oh, right. What about the red book spirit? There's a spirit in the library. It might know something about the forbidden room. I'll try asking it. I agree. That's a good idea. Let's go and check while Kureha's still distracting the wraith. In that case, I'll keep watch outside the library, so you two go on ahead without me. Thank you. Please don't push yourself too hard. If you see the wraith, please run away. Scream first. Then what's the point of me keeping watch? I'll at least let you know before running. Sorry, guess you're right about that. Thank you. Well, Yui, let's do this. Yui smiled as she nodded and was about to stand up when... Wait, I held her arm. I want you to know, I'm sorry for making you remember such terrible things. I doubted this single apology would be any consolation to her, but I felt terrible about all of this. Yui, however, seemed unfazed and just smiled back at me. I have you to thank for opening my eyes, for showing me I had to face the truth. Never forget that. Thank you for being so positive about it. Honestly, I feel like I should be thanking you for making me have making me have a more positive outlook. Well, I guess you're very welcome. I'm glad the feeling's mutual. She seems really sweet and nice, but I'm still waiting for her to stab us in the back. If she never does, good. But if she does, I wouldn't be shocked either. We laughed together as we headed out to the library. The three of us went out to the hallway and snuck inside the library. The boy said that standing out in the hallway would attract attention, so he stayed inside and peeked out the door to survey the area. So he'd stay inside and peek out the door. Okay. Yui and I first headed to the area where the entrance to the basement should be. There were stairs here that led underground. She pointed right at the middle of the round table in the center of the library. It's got a nice little cut right there where you could walk right in the middle. Do you see that? On the right side? If it's still there, then there should be an open space under the floor. I hopped over the table and descended to the empty middle section. I knocked on the floors, but they didn't sound hollow. Looks like there's a round hatch here, but no handle for me to open it with. Let's try talking to the book spirit for now. I walked with Yui over to the bookshelf where the red book was before. There it is! I slowly pulled out the book from the shelf and walked deeper into the library. The library was large, and the further we went in, the less likely we were to be overheard. So that's the red book you mentioned, but it's not reacting to you. That's weird. The last time I touched the book, I immediately started hearing voices from it. I tried my best to listen and heard what sounded like a gentle, sleepy coo. Is it sleeping? None of the ghosts I encountered ever seemed to sleep, but maybe spirits have a habit of sleeping? I gently patted the book. Poke, poke, poke. Oh, book spirit, please wake up.
That tickles.
I heard it this time, but it looks like it's still asleep. If I did anything to surprise it, it might suddenly yell, which would risk drawing the attention of the wraith. Book spirit, it's me. Please wake up.
Oh my, why are you interrupting my beauty sleep?
Sorry, but there's something I need to ask you.
Goodness me, I'm a busy book, you know. Make it quick.
You were just sleeping. How busy could you be? I made sure not to say that out loud. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask you about the forbidden room that was once among the 7 wonders of the school. I'm guessing that the entrance to the forbidden room's somewhere in the library, but do you know anything about it? Seems like there's a stairway near the round table in the middle that leads to the basement, but I can't be sure.
Ah, yes, I know that rumor well. I see, so the forbidden room was referring to the basement here.
Then you know about the basement?
Once a year, the people of the school and a man who appeared to be a Shinto priest would go down to the basement.
What? So it is here. But why do they go down there once a year, and why with a priest? Are they excising ghosts?
Hardly a guess, but they were probably doing some sort of ceremony to calm the spirits. Those wailings can be so grating.
There's a ghost there? Then it's just like the crying in the rumors.
Most likely, yes.
So there's a crying ghost there. Although it wasn't a man-eating demon, it was very close to the rumor of the forbidden room. Do you know how to open the entrance to that basement?
I've never got a good look, but I always hear some mechanical noises prior to them going down to the basement.
Mechanical noises? Which means maybe it's the sound of the entrance opening. That was why it looked like a hatch, but with no handle. Then perhaps there's some kind of button that controls the entrance. It's clear the school was trying to hide the existence of the basement, but why go to all the trouble of keeping it around? Exactly. We're gonna fill it in.
So we just need to find the contraption that'll open the door then.
Yeah.
I'd advise against that. You'll catch the wraith of the ghost that has taken up residence there. The wraith, that is.
Oh, catch the wrath of the ghost. I was like,
it's a wraith dressed in a kimono with long hair. A rather horrific sight.
the description matched the same wraith. Although things were progressing as planned, I felt more fear than joy from the developments.
The humans conduct a yearly ceremony to quell her, which is why she so rarely ventures out. When this world transformed, she surfaced immediately, sensing something was wrong. Considering she isn't back yet, you should go and check it out now while you still can.
So that's why we only saw her from time to time.
I was speechless, and Yui spoke instead of me.
Now then, if you're quite done here, put me back on the bookshelf. Terribly drowsy right now.
Oh, Spirit, please, one more question. Where were you when you saw the humans descend to the basement?
The round table in the middle was the easiest to see when I was on the shelf right behind it.
Thank you for telling us. Please rest well.
Hold on, bird's getting fidgety, so I'm going to give him a teeny bit of a break. And then if I come over here, I can't quite read the thing.
You got to go potties? He's a good birdie. Thank you very much. Give kisses.
Good boy. Thank you. And thank you. Patient with the...
Yes, yes. If you need anything else, come back when I'm awake, will you?
When the hell is that?
I don't know.
We'll just sit here and stare at him. The book spirit spoke those final words before dozing off on the shelf again. After we both breathed out a long sigh, Yui started walking around the round table. I followed her, and she stood in front of the bookshelf, behind the table, looking around. I didn't realize it had been almost an hour. He probably could have waited a few minutes, but I'm like, we're only like halfway through this part. But nope, okay, it's been 57 minutes, shit. Yui, what are you doing?
I'm looking for blind spots. That spirit mentioned it observed people entering the basement from the bookshelf.
Oh, so that's why she asked him. Yui then pointed at something.
First, look around the table. There might be a hidden mechanism that opens the stairway to the basement.
Got it. The two of us continued searching. While looking through the reception desk, we found a locked square box. If there was something in the library that would open the hatch, I had a feeling it was there. We searched for the key, but were unable to find it, and instead returned to the library for the time being. We returned to the nurse's office for the time being. When it said return to the library, I was like, that doesn't seem right. But because we were at the reception desk in the library, so why would we return to the library from the library? Okay, it meant to say nurse's office. Upon arriving at the nurse's office, Kureha was already there waiting for us. We told him about what happened in the library and all split up to go look for the key.
There are keys stored in the faculty room.
The principal's office is probably a good place to check.
Oh, I know my way around the principal's office. I always go and hang out there when I'm bored.
As we were talking...
Sorry to interrupt, but there's something I need to report.
At Kureha's announcement, we all quieted down.
This is about the Wraith. She's currently trapped inside the mirror.
All three of us were speechless at this unexpected development. I was the first to reply. How? I thought it was impossible to go inside without Hibiki's permission.
After walking you back to the nurse's office, Hibiki told me about the rules of the mirror, so I asked him to try and lock her away. That was perfect timing. Hibiki was planning to leave, and so I happily obliged.
Hold on. Isn't the Wraith just going to get angry and activate the curse on her? We don't have to worry about that. The curse is activated by looking at me. That's why you tried to imprison the Wraith, right, Kureha? I looked over at Kureha and he nodded in response, so you just have to cover up every single mirror in the scroll with sheets.
Which means we can look for the key without worrying about the Wraith? Excellent work, Kureha! Thanks so much!
Yeah, thank you, Kureha! We then split up and went to look for the keys separately. It's weird that they went to boy and he just says ... instead of not saying anything. That seems suspicious. Kureha and I would check the faculty room while Yui and the boy went to the principal's office. Things seem to be going well. At this rate, I think I'll make it back to the mortal realm in no time. I feel like that's gonna slap us in the face. I glanced over at Kureha. Knowing the Wraith was a victim of the incidents erased any connection she may have had to Kureha. I wonder how Kureha's feeling about all this.
I don't know why I have this sword. Perhaps something happened before I died. Perhaps I was the one that killed her.
I wonder if he still had doubts about his connections with the Wraith. I tried to keep calm as Kureha and I headed to the faculty room. And we'll talk to him more about it. At the end. I mean, I will talk more about it next time. My brain broke. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.